For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them. Stand out to something.
Hey, this is Dustin Leibowitz. I was just interviewed by my buddy Keith Andrew. I gotta tell you, that was the most fun half hour I've had in a long time, and I'm super proud of him. I can't believe my buddy's got a talk show. This is incredible. Go check it out.
Hi, my name is Holly Anspaugh. I'm an actress based in Bloomington, Indiana, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I have to say, I enjoyed every second of chatting with him and Dustin, and you should really check out his channel.
Today, we sit down with Holly, the beautiful and talented Miss Holly. Welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It's a real honor and privilege, and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, and it's an honor.
No, the honor's all mine. So we're going to have some fun with this. I'm going to ask some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. And with that, as you know, you're supporting someone with disabilities, and you make a new friend. I hate the expression, kill two birds with one stone, but it's a win-win. So that being said, this is not about me. This is about you. And the first question is, what can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I began acting last summer, and I was cast in a movie called Chasing Rabbits. It's an indie film about a girl whose mom joins a cult when she's young, and then years later, her dad goes missing and she has to investigate. Since then, I've been doing a little bit of short films, and I have another feature film that I'll be starting soon. But outside of acting, in my survival job, I am actually an attorney in Indiana.
Oh, really nice. Now, I do have some ideas that we can talk about off the air, but same exact question. Well, let me ask you the question first. It's the same exact question, but you're changing actor for lawyer and lawyer for actor. With that being said, who inspired you to become a lawyer, and who inspired you to become an actress?
So far as becoming a lawyer, I didn't really know many lawyers growing up, but when I read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school, it really had an impact on my life. And I knew that becoming a lawyer would be a way to help people. And so I wouldn't say a particular person led me to this path, but definitely literature and seeing the good that lawyers can bring. So far as acting, I'm inspired by a whole lot of people. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so I grew up watching Harry Potter. I thought Emma Watson was just amazing. She's a great actress. She's very intelligent, and I wanted to be like her. But so far as actresses today that still inspire me, I really like Florence Pugh. Saoirse Ronan is amazing. And Frances McDormand, she's amazing as well.
No, absolutely. And there's two things I want to talk about real quick. It's never let money go to your head. I know some people who are lawyers, and at the end of the day, yes, it's great to have money, but money doesn't make you a good person. I mean, yes, it's nice that, hey, I don't have to pay my bills. I don't have to pay my taxes. I have this beautiful house. Yeah, I mean, it's great, but don't want to turn into like an asshole or anything. Because people think, oh, well, because I'm this fancy lawyer, I can thumb my nose down and do pretty much whatever I want. But wouldn't that justify your character of saying, yes, you have this money, but do you really have to change who you really are? And that's the question I want to ask you. How do you feel about being an actor compared to a lawyer? Do you think these two kind of will coexist? Or do you think you would change to fit? Because people say never change who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a really interesting question. I think that being an actor and being a lawyer, there are some similarities between the two. So when I think about acting, for me, it's all about telling a story, right? Becoming this character and being able to share what that character thinks and feels in a given circumstance. Being a lawyer, you also have a chance to be a storyteller, especially if you're doing like trial advocacy. If you are presenting your side of the case to a jury, it's your job to make the information that they're receiving interesting. And especially with opening and closing arguments, it's really your chance to tell the story, what this case is about, who these people are. So there are some similarities there. I think where they differ is I get to be more creative with acting, which I absolutely love. And being a lawyer, it involves a lot more writing, a lot more communication, and I guess strategizing. So they are different in some ways, but in other ways, there are some similarities.
I'm going to put you on the hot seat. There's so many TV shows that people play lawyers. Was there a show that said, you know what? That's what the type of lawyer I want to be?
Oh man. So I'm going to be honest. I think the first movie that I remember watching with lawyers and in the movie, it was Legally Blonde. And as a child watching that movie, it was really a lot of fun. And you see this really kind of inspirational story about a woman who finds herself. She originally was so connected to a man that she wasn't even aware of her own potential. But throughout the movie, you see her grow into a strong, independent, well-spoken woman who knows her worth. She knows she's intelligent. She knows that she can make a difference. So I would be lying if I said that didn't have a little bit of an effect on me. So Legally Blonde, of course, the movie version of To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Finch. When you think about being a lawyer who makes a difference, a person who wants to be a voice for someone who needs a voice, it's going to come back to Atticus every time. I think pretty much every lawyer has seen To Kill a Mockingbird, the movie, or at least read the book. And I think we're all at least a little bit inspired by him.
Same exact question, only it's about being an actress. First actress who had inspired you.
Oh, okay. Goodness. I'm trying to think, because I've always been sort of obsessed with movies. Growing up, I was watching as many movies as I could. Think.
Well, you think, for me, for being a lawyer, I'm not really that educated. But if I was, I would say the one thing that inspired me would be the TV show Suits. As soon as I saw Suits, I'm like, why can't I have a boss like Harvey Specter? I can see myself as Mike Voss, the cute girlfriend who's now going to be the Queen of England, Meghan. They have a boss like Harvey Specter. Of course, everyone has their co-workers, like Lewis or snakes and backstanding. But it was because of Suits. I'm like, you know what? I want to become an actor. And I actually came to a point, and now we're here with my friend Dustin, who's going to be also joining us. But the one thing I do want to say is because of Suits, I actually looked in the newspaper, and it's kind of like, not to get religious or anything, but kind of heaven sent, happened to be in that paper that I saw, was an audition for this guy's like, oh, I'm having acting classes. If you're interested. And so me and my sister went, she liked it. For me, I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm not an actor. But it's one of those things like, I know I want to be in the entertainment world, but maybe acting is going the wrong way about it.
Mhm.
So did you feel the same way when you saw one of your favorite actresses saying, I want to follow in her footsteps, but I may not live up to her potential? Or did you also second guess yourself?
Yeah, so I know I already mentioned her once, but I think the person who first got me interested was probably Emma Watson. I felt like I connected so much with Hermione as a character, and then finding out that in real life, she is also quite intelligent, very driven, very well spoken. I wanted to be a lot like her, so she was very inspirational for me. Well, I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question again?
Oh, you did it perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Now we're gonna pass it over to Dustin. I haven't seen you since I think the last time we went to school together was 2005, and the last time I actually saw you in person was, I think, 2007 or 2008. So it's great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
Good. Sorry, I couldn't figure out the background thing. I'm the worst with Zoom. I just figured out how to blur the background for the first time, so I hope that's acceptable.
No, absolutely. So Holly's going to talk about acting, and the reason I do a double interview is I don't know much about real estate, so I'm going to ask you guys the same questions, but yours will only be about real estate. So I'm going to start off with the first one for you. What is
Hi, Holly.
So the first one is, and this is for both of you, only you're changing the actor for real estate. First question is, what is the biggest change you want to make in your acting career, Holly? But Dustin, for you, it's real estate. And we're going to start off with you.
For me, I think change-wise, I want to dive more into the craft. So we see actors and actresses all the time in performances, in movies and TV, and we don't think a lot about the work that goes into it. But to be a truly effective actor, you need to know your art. And I am taking classes right now, and I intend to keep practicing. I want to get better. I want to invest in this passion. That way I can be the most authentic storyteller that I can be.
No, absolutely. What about you, Dustin?
Oh, the thing that I would change, what was the question again?
Oh, what is the biggest change you would want to make in your acting career? But because you're not an actor, real estate career.
Real estate. So the biggest challenge that I'm really working on is the whole social media presence. Like, I've been in construction for over 20 years, basically. So it's, you don't have to rely on Instagram or Facebook or algorithms or, making content and putting it out there. I'm more of a, hey, call my cell phone. I'm going to talk to you like a person, and then we're going to meet up, and it's going to be a one-on-one situation here. But, you find that there's a lot of other agents that are out there that are helping first-time home buyers across the country saying like, hey, here's a buyer's guide that's really going to help you in short 30-second clips. You walk into a house, my niche is going, hey, let's take a look at this roof. What kind of roof do you have? You have a 3-tab shingle, you have architectural shingles, what kind of lifespan are you going to get out and get out of that house? And, that's kind of where I thrive. And now I kind of have to take that onto the platform, like, Instagram, Facebook, doing Zoom interviews. I have to do them all the time now. And I'm like, sorry, man, I couldn't figure out the background in time,
Don't worry about it. But the other question I asked Holly this in the beginning, but I want to ask you, who inspired you to start your career as in real estate? Because in real estate, you make a lot of money. I was actually talking to my dad about this earlier. Like, hey, my friend works in real estate, and I don't know, you got a house, so I guess he make a lot of money. But it's kind of, maybe I can do that. It's like, no, you have to be good with numbers and math. So who inspired you to get into real estate?
To be honest with you, when my wife and I were just cruising around New Paltz, like looking at houses, looking at different neighborhoods, you know, all over the Hudson Valley, really. Every once in a while, we'd stop in at an open house. You know, that's very low commitment. You go in there, you kind of shake a hand, you say, all right, well, we're going to walk through this house. And then you try to leave without putting your email down so you don't get bombarded with unwanted spam and stuff like that. And, you know, this one agent walked me around this like $1 million house. We couldn't come close to even like, it wasn't even like a thought that we were just like, hey, could we be nosy and get into this super beautiful house in the mountains over here? And she was such a pro. She was like, you know what? Of course, because this is a little thing that nobody knows. When you host an open house as a realtor, everybody shows up. If you're ending at 3, they're showing up at 2:59, just like being in like the restaurant business, you know, everyone shows up 10 minutes to closing time. And you're like, I cleaned the grill already. So this lady, she was such a pro. Her name was Ann Rogers, and still Ann Rogers. She's still around. She's a great realtor. And she was like, come on, let me show you all the great things that this house has to offer. And she walked us around. I'm like, I've never felt so comfortable with a stranger. And that was the big thing. We just like, every time we'd walk into a house, somebody would be always like pushy and trying to get you to like, hey, sign here. And you're just like, oh, it feels gross. This lady was wonderful. I was like, you could be like my mother. Like, you know, it just felt like so comfortable. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do this, you know?
It's funny. And I can actually relate. You talk about $1 million house. We take my dog, my dad's dog, Aria, to dog training over in Tuxedo Park. And it's in a gated community. These houses are freaking gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, oh, you know, my dad, how much do you think this house worth? But they're like, I don't know. Like $2 million. I'm like, I wish I had that type of money. Gated community, these things, how like, think of the most expensive houses. And I've been in Monroe, I've been in my area for a long time, and I never been to Tuxedo. I always heard of Tuxedo, but I never gone there. But it's really nice, you know, to keep the Hasidics out. Yeah, that's a different subject. But oh, go ahead.
Whoopi Goldberg lives in there, doesn't she? Like there was, Holly, there was, where are you from, Holly?
I'm from Bloomington, Indiana.
Oh, okay. So it's just this, how would you describe Tuxedo Park, Andrew?
I would say it's very, my dad, every time I see a beautiful house, I'm like, you know, say to my dad, one day I will buy this house. Yeah. And what lifetime are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just to give you these people. I give you an example. I had one conversation with a couple who were there was the dogs, and I'm like, oh, you know, at the time I worked at Walmart. They don't get, it's uncensored, by the way. It's like, they don't give a shit about Walmart. These people are millionaires. This one person who's a nice person, and she's like, she has servant bathrooms. And I was going to ask her, what is a servant bathroom? And my dad's like, shut up, don't ask. But that should give you the idea. If they have servants working for them and servant bathrooms, these are. One other guy was in charge of an upcoming tech company. The other one had, I don't know, just use your imagination. But these are millionaires. And you got Whoopi Goldberg lives there. Actually, Mark Ruffalo, and McKee wasn't his name. Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah, I think he's in Rockland.
Okay.
But I think there's so many great people there. Of course, you know, when you go in, there's a cop car. What about 3 or 4 cop cars? And you have to tell them where you're going, how long you got to be there, because they don't let anyone in. So it's really that tightly security. But I want to do something fun for both of you. Dustin, did you have any questions for Holly? And Holly, do you want to ask Dustin any questions? Because I like bringing people together and networking. So this is not just for me, it's for both of you as well.
Sure. Dustin, I am interested in knowing where you think the real estate market is going next. I think we've just seen prices skyrocketing lately. Any predictions on what you think the near future will hold?
So I get this question a lot. The funny thing is it's just such a perfect storm of nobody knows what's going to happen next. And I know 3 years ago, a lot of my clients said, "Oh, I'm going to wait for the housing market to crash. It's a little too inflated right now." And I'm just going, I mean, this is pre-COVID. And then I'm just going, I just don't see that happening right now. Interest rates are kind of low. I know that there's like a boom bust cycle that always happens. And, but then when I was thinking that the market was going to kind of deflate, COVID happened. Manhattan's home to more millionaires than like anywhere else in the world. So all these people from New York City, like, I don't know what the market is out by you, but if you are an hour outside of a major city, everywhere in the country, they've been flooded. And it's not just like regular home buyers. It's a lot of second house, second homeowners. The second house market is like huge up here. So everybody was coming out bringing an unbelievable amount of cash. So regular people couldn't just go out and get a regular financing, because when you have cash in hand, you're ready to buy a house. It's like it was going in less than 24 hours. People were buying stuff sight unseen. Now the interest rates are starting to creep up a little bit, which may be helping, because anybody that was kind of on a razor's edge of being able to qualify for financing for the, $400,000, $300, whatever their price range was, they're not really qualifying anymore. And really, it's not a crazy historic jump. It's from 3% interest rates to 5.5% interest rates. Back in the 80s, it was like 20%. It was crazy. It was something that was like unfathomable. So I wish I could tell you that there's going to be a balance in this marketplace, but the demand is yet to go away. As soon as that starts going away, things will correct. But everybody wants to get out of their cities. I hope. I want balance to come back, because for realtors, it's crazy. It's like getting an accepted offer. Sometimes it's been described to me from one of my favorite loan officers is like, it's like winning a lotto ticket right now. So what's the housing market by you? Like, do you hear a lot of rumors of friends buying houses and not being able to? Is it like still tough?
So I've been hearing friends who are currently house hunting and saying, if you don't get an offer in within the first 12 hours, and if it's not over asking price, they're out of luck. And it's just kind of crazy right now. I was just curious. Yeah, it's really nice to get your perspective on that.
All right. Yeah.
So the next question I want to ask both of you is a little hint of theme of the show. Besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities? And for people with disabilities who want to follow in your footsteps, what are some of your words of wisdom? And Holly, we're going to start with you.
Yeah. So I do have a history working with people with disabilities. So before I moved to Bloomington, I lived and worked in Evansville, Indiana, and we have what is called Spirit Cheer. And it's a cheerleading squad for children, both boys and girls. I think the ages start at 6 and go all the way up to 18. And each year we would teach the kids a cheerleading routine that included a cheer, a dance, and multiple stunts. And it was my favorite part of the year. Every year was Spirit Cheer season. And it was just incredible what the Spirit Cheer kids would do every time they performed. So far as people with disabilities who want to follow in my footsteps, I would say don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to make connections. I would say, at least in Indiana, especially when we're looking at the indie film scene, everybody wants to see each other succeed. It's an incredibly supportive community, and we welcome everyone. When we tell stories, we want everyone to be represented. And the best way to do that is to open that hand and say, come talk to us. Come let us know what you're interested in, and we'll get you connected to the people who can help.
Absolutely. And before Dustin, before you answer, I want to take this time to do a little quick plug. And I just want to say on air and officially, thank you. Because I told you off the air, and how you haven't known, but me and Dustin went to school together. It's because of this guy, and I'm not kissing his ass or anything. It's because of this guy. My freshman year of high school was the most brutalest freaking year of my life. I failed at every single thing. I had absolutely no friends. So one day I was sitting at the lunch table, and I always had my brother's yearbook. Don't ask me why. It seemed like a good idea at the time. And these two guys came over and sat right in front of me and say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And I thought they were just messing with me. But they were like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you." And then this other girl came in too. These three people made an impression on my life. And I just want to say thank you for that. Actually do a quick funny story. Man. Do you remember for Christmas, I gave you a gift. I gave you the Spider-Man VHS.
Spider-Man VHS.
And in return, I think you gave me like a cigarette or a joint. I don't remember what it was. I just remember it's like a black stick. I'm like, no, I'm good. I have a heart condition. It's true, I do. But
what a horrible thing. But no, if like looking back, I probably did that. Oh, that's hysterical, man. Yeah, we just me and Kevin, we were looking for a place to sit. I'm like, hang out with this guy. It was great. We loved it. Yeah, we had some good talks.
No, absolutely. It's almost 20 years. But I do want to ask you, are you planning on going to your high school reunion? And Holly, I want to ask you the same question.
Oh goodness. What's the year? It's 2022. 2024.
For me, I actually looked at the sites. It's been 16 years. So I guess in another 4 years, it will be my reunion. And I have mixed emotions. I actually got this application, and I can always tell you guys off the air. But I got this application. It pretty much turns black and white pictures to colors. Long story short, if you have a yearbook, I'd like to buy it from you. But imagine if the yearbook pictures were in color instead of black and white. I took a couple of pictures, are really good. But it was the last 2 minutes. I'm going to pass it over to you guys. Do you plan on going to your high school reunions, number one? And number two, how can people get in touch with you on social media? And Justin, I'll ask you first.
Yeah, am I going to go to a high school reunion? I mean, I guess why not? We had like a 10-year reunion, and I just wasn't into the idea of going. And I was just like, I don't even know if it happened. I don't really remember. But after 20 years, you're like, why not? But black and white photos. I remember every teenager has some sort of acne. So like, you can't have not black and white photos, man. That'd be terrible. And how can people get in touch with me? I guess, so I just started Instagram because now I'm trying to get the social media presence up and be better at stuff like this. It's at home with Dustin. Or I don't know if I could like type out a email or,
Oh, it will be in the description box. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay. So I'll send you all that good stuff. I sent you my link tree, right?
I think so. I didn't click on it, but you did mention it.
All right. Perfect.
What about you, Holly?
So my 10-year high school reunion would have been back in 2019, and I also missed it. I didn't hear a lot about it before it happened, so I unfortunately missed it, but I would like to see people again. I went to a really, really small high school in a very rural area of Indiana. We actually had a drive your tractor to work day. Like that's how rural we were. But I would love to see everybody again. So hopefully the next time around, I will actually make it. Let's see, black and white photos. So our yearbooks were actually a combination. Some things were in color, some were in black and white. I think they probably made the right choices about what was in color and what wasn't. A lot of the photos were black and white, but for class photos and things like that. But so far as spirit days, things where there were a lot of activity going on, those were usually color. And if you want to connect with me on social media, you can look me up on Instagram. It's Holly_Jean_Anspaugh. And I post all sorts of things on there, from acting to pictures of my beagles.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have one more question, but the thing I want to plug real fast, and you guys want to add to your calendar, it makes it easier for me. June 10th, that's a Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's my 9-year anniversary. I would love it to have you guys with us. But the last question I was going to ask you, I want you both of you to be brutally honest. When I approached both of you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend to other people? And Ali, we'll start off with you.
I was really excited when you reached out. I still consider myself fairly new to acting. So the fact that you had found me and that you were interested in talking about acting, that really got me excited to do the interview. I am very passionate about what I do in front of the camera, and just the opportunity to get to meet somebody new and to talk about my passion was really exciting. And having done this, I would absolutely recommend it. You make new friends. And I mean, it's been a really, really fun half hour.
Yep, absolutely. And Dustin?
Yeah, man, this is great. When I first got a message from you, I'm like, oh my God, Keith. And you're like, you do my show? And I was like, you have a talk show? I don't know anybody who else has a talk show. That's incredible. And then I watched one of the episodes and I was like, my buddy Keith has a talk show. This is incredible. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then when you asked to see, like, if Kat or Kevin, I was like, let me see. Because like, I bet those guys don't want to be on camera, but after I talk to them, we're getting them on this show. It's going to be the best show. It's going to be the four of us, and it's going to be one of the best shows you've ever had. Okay.
No, I would love that.
And Holly too. We'll bring her back on.
Most definitely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you guys off the air. But wrapping up, if you're watching this fine episode, this episode will be aired on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I keep saying, I want to say Instagram, but I can't get it on Instagram. But YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to remember June 10th. That will be my 9-year anniversary, 8 o'clock special episode. Like, subscribe, and until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.